Here's an uncomfortable pattern you've probably noticed and never said out loud. Some guys who live in the gym look older than guys who barely train. Hollow cheeks, dark circles, dull skin, that permanently drained expression on a body that's technically in shape. That's not bad luck. And it's not just genetics. It's a specific, fixable mistake. They've turned training into a stress overdose. There's a name for it: cortisol-maxing. And it's what happens when everything around your training amplifies stress hormones instead of managing them. The cruel part: cortisol is the aging hormone, and your face pays the bill first. In this video, the 6 gym habits that crank your cortisol, the tells that you're doing it, and the recovery first fixes that let you keep every bit of muscle while your face stops paying for it. Let's go. The thesis, one time, so every habit makes sense. Training is stress. That's the point of it. You damage the body slightly, it rebuilds stronger. But the rebuilding doesn't happen in the gym, it happens in recovery. Sleep, food, rest. The gym writes the check, recovery cashes it. Cortisol is the hormone that manages the stress side, and in short bursts, it's fine. It's supposed to spike in a hard session and fall right after. The problem is chronic elevation: train too much, sleep too little, stack stimulants, starve too hard, and cortisol never comes back down. And chronically high cortisol is practically a recipe for looking worse. It breaks down collagen. That's skin aging directly. It holds water in the face. That's the puffy, tired look. It wrecks sleep, which doubles itself. And it eats the very muscle you're training for. So the equation on the board is this: gains live in the gap between stress and recovery. Widen the gap with recovery. You build. Close it with more stress. You age. 6 habits close it. Here they are. Habit 1. Training 6 or 7 days a week, every week, no deloads, because rest feels like weakness. The grind set math says more sessions equals more muscle, but the recovery math says otherwise. Muscle protein synthesis from a hard session runs about 48 hours. Training the same systems daily just interrupts the rebuild and respikes cortisol before it ever settled. Run that for months, and you're permanently in the stress phase and never in the growth phase. The tells are textbook overtraining: lift stalled or going backwards, resting heart rate creeping up, sleep getting worse even though you're exhausted, and the face flat, puffy, gray, dark circled. The cortisol face. Here's the reframe that fixes it. A rest day isn't skipping training. It is training. It's the half of the program where the muscle actually gets built. The fix: 3 to 5 sessions a week, at least 1 full rest day, and a deload week every 6 to 8 weeks. Every serious strength program on earth is built this way, because this is how bodies actually grow. Habit 2. The 5 a.m. badge of honor. Training hard on 5 hours of sleep, posting about it, repeating it. This is the single dumbest trade in fitness. And here's the arithmetic. Sleep is when growth hormone peaks, when muscle repair runs, and when yesterday's cortisol gets cleared. Cut sleep, and you walk into the gym with cortisol already elevated, testosterone already reduced. Studies on sleep restriction show double-digit percentage drops in young men within a week. And then you add a heavy training stress on top. You're stacking the aging hormone on a body that never cleared yesterday's dose. Do this chronically and you get the worst of both worlds. Worse recovery, worse gains, and the sleep-deprived face we covered in the habits video. Dark circles, dull skin, collagen breakdown. Now with extra cortisol. The fix has a hard rule attached. If it's a choice between the session and 7 hours of sleep, the sleep wins every single time. The lifter who sleeps 8 hours and trains 4 days beats the 5 a.m. guy on gains and on face. Sleep is the anabolic. The gym is just a signal. Habit 3. The stimulant stack. Double scoop pre-workout. An energy drink on the drive. Coffee all morning because you're tired. Because of course you're tired. Look at habit 2. Caffeine directly raises cortisol, and mega dosing it before every session means every workout starts with an artificial stress spike stacked on the training stress. But the real damage is downstream. Caffeine has a 5 to 6 hour half-life, which means the 4 p.m. pre-workout is still half in your blood at 10 p.m., quietly cutting your deep sleep, the exact repair window your face and muscles needed. That's the loop. Stimulants to survive the day, worse sleep. Because of the stimulants, more stimulants tomorrow. Cortisol never lands. The tells: you can't train without a scoop. You're wired at midnight and dead at noon, and your morning face looks like you lost a fight. The fix: caffeine is a tool, not a lifestyle. Keep it under about 400 milligrams a day, nothing within 8 to 10 hours of bed. Morning sessions get the scoop. Evening sessions run on food and sleep. And once your sleep recovers, you'll need half the dose you're on now. Habit 4. The crash cut. 800 calories under maintenance, 6 weeks to shredded, because patience is for other people. A severe deficit is a severe stressor. Run it hard enough and cortisol climbs, and the body starts breaking down muscle alongside the fat. But watch what it does to your face specifically, because this is where crash cutters age the fastest. Facial fat is structural. It's what keeps cheeks full and skin taut. Strip it too fast and you get the gaunt look, hollow cheeks, deep in lines, skin that didn't get time to adapt, plus the gray dullness of a starved high cortisol system. There's a reason the phrase is, he looks like he's been cutting, and it's not a compliment past 30. And the rebound, because crash cuts almost always rebound. Yo-yos your face to gaunt and puffy on repeat, which is its own aging program. The fix, not 0.5 to 1% of body weight per week, protein high, and the cut ends at lean, not at hollow. The extra 8 weeks of patience is the difference between sharp and skeletal. Habit 5. The permanent dirty bulk. I'm bulking. As a 12-month lifestyle, 3,000 extra calories of whatever, because mass moves mass. Here's what the scale doesn't show, past a modest surplus. The extra calories don't become extra muscle. Muscle growth has a rate limit. They become fat, and a chunk of that fat goes exactly where you can't hide it, the face. Jawline first. The bulk face is real. Cheeks fill. The chin neckline softens, and the definition you're building under the shirt is invisible above the collar. Meanwhile, the junk calorie version adds the metabolic hit, high sugar loads driving glycation, the collagen stiffening process from the skin video, plus inflammation that shows up as puffiness. So you're building a body and blurring a face at the same rate. The fix, a lean bulk, is 200 to 300 calories over maintenance, mostly food you'd eat anyway on a diet, run in blocks with a defined end date, not a permanent identity. You gain the same muscle over the year. You just get to keep your jaw while you do it. Habit 6, the sneaky one. Outdoor training as your daily UV overdose. The run at noon, the outdoor pull-up sessions, sports every weekend. All excellent training, all happening in peak sun with zero protection all year. We established the number in the skin video. The vast majority of visible facial aging is UV damage, not age. Now do the exposure math for an outdoor athlete. 1 hour of midday training is deep in burn territory UV, times 5 sessions a week, times years. The runner's face isn't a myth, it's accumulated dose. That leathery, lined, over-tanned look that outdoor lifters get in their 30s is the training habit, not the training. And it's the single most fixable habit on this list because the fix doesn't touch the training at all. SPF 30 plus on the face before every outdoor session. Sweat-resistant sport versions exist precisely for this. Train before 10 or after 4 when you can, and a cap for the long stuff. Full training effect, none of the dose. There is no trade-off here. There's just applying it or none. Quick self-audit before the fixes, because cortisol-maxing announces itself if you know the signs. The face tells, puffy or hollow at the same body fat that used to look sharp. Dark circles that sleep doesn't clear. Skin that's gone dull or gray, looking drained at rest. The training tells, lift stalled for weeks or sliding backwards, needing stimulants to get through a normal session, resting heart rate up 5+ beats from your baseline. The life tells, exhausted all day but wired at bedtime, irritable, appetite chaos, starving or nothing. Score yourself honestly. 1 or 2 of these occasionally is being human. 4 or more, persisting for weeks, is the pattern. And notice what the pattern is. It's not training too hard. It's recovering too little for the stress you're running. Training is just the biggest line item on the stress budget, which is exactly why the fix isn't training less for its own sake. It's making the recovery match the ambition, the whole protocol on one board. Recovery first training, nothing exotic. Training, 3 to 5 sessions a week, at least 1 true rest day, deload every 6 to 8 weeks, and progress tracked, so stalls get seen instead of pushed through. Sleep, 7 hours as the floor, defended like a session. If sleep was short, today's session gets lighter, not skipped. Sleep harder. Stimulants, under 400 milligrams of caffeine, none within 8 to 10 hours of bed. Pre-workout for morning sessions only. Diet, cuts at half to 1% of body weight per week, bulks at 200 to 300 over maintenance with an end date. Protein high in both directions. Sun, SPF on the face for every outdoor session, Cat for the long ones, off-peak hours when the schedule allows. Read the list twice and notice, not one item costs gains. Every single line either builds more muscle, keeps more muscle, or protects the face. Usually all three. Recovery isn't the tax on training. It's the half of training. The grind set forgot. One reframe to close the loop. The gym culture you're marinating in worships. The visible half. The sessions. The volume. The grind. The 5 a.m. posts. And treats the invisible half like weakness, sleep, rest days, moderate deficits, sunscreen. But look at the actual outcomes, side by side. And the invisible half is where the results were the whole time. The guy who looks better than you at 40 isn't the one who trained the most hours. It's the one who understood 10 years earlier that stress is the stimulus and recovery is the growth, and that a face is downstream of the same budget. You don't have to choose between being built and looking fresh. That choice only exists inside Cortisol-Maxing. Manage the budget and you get both. The physique from the training, the face from the recovery. Train like someone who plans to look good at 40, because you're currently deciding right now whether you will. So run the audit this week. Count your rest days. If the answer is 0, that's your first fix. Check the clock on your last caffeine against your bedtime. Look at your cut rate, your bulk plan, the sun on your outdoor sessions. Find your 2 or 3 habits. Almost everyone training hard has 2 or 3. Install the fixes from the board and give it 4 weeks. The lifts start moving again, the sleep comes back, and the face follows, because it was never separate from the training. It was the readout of how you were running it. If this one hit, subscribe. Next up, the daily habits quietly destroying your face while you're not even training. See you there.